Hello. I entered a competition a couple of weeks ago to win a book. The competition was on a fellow YouTuber's site, video thing by a fellow YouTuber called Philip Hawkins. So go and subscribe to him immediately. I'll put a link in the description for his page. He's a very affable chap, very amiable, talks about all areas of sort of geekdom and fanhood, and the nerd people like me and probably you, unless you're somebody who just clicked on this because you wanted to leave a comment about how women are ruining Doctor Who, but don't really, because no one's particularly interested. It's a bit of a dead argument, in all honesty. This is the book, The Women Who Lived. It's by Crystal D and Simon Guerrier. I haven't read it. I only just got it today, so this is a fresh recording, as it were. It's very good. I got this little card, it's a promotional card in it, and it's signed by. Well, say it's signed by. It's just a little message from Simon Guerrier, one of the authors, and it just tells me who it's been signed by. So it's signed by the two authors and some of the artists as well. So that's a really neat. Because as far as I was aware, it was just going to be the authors, and then in contact with Philip Hawkins, I realised that I was told it was going to be some of the artists as well. So that's very neat. So that's the cover. It's a beautiful cover, actually. It really is. It's a lovely image. The women who lived, and of course, the Doctor herself taking centre stage, as is right. Seeing that's it. There's Doctor Who there on the front. That's fine. And then you got sort of some characters that you might recognise, others that you might not, depending on how au fait you are with Doctor Who. So yeah, so let's have, and that's the back cover there. So it's some more images from some of the other sort of women that the Doctor once knew. So I'm just going to run through. I'm not going to show off the illustrations because I think that's not really sort of part of the deal. Although I will show this one here, because that's where the signatures are. There's one there that's specifically to Phil. That one there. So that's his acknowledgement. There's some lovely sort of things. There's a drawing of Peter Capaldi, drawing of Jodie Whittaker there. So that's sort of neat. Be kind, says the 12th Doctor. So basically, this is a book on the women of Doctor Who. So we start with Ace. You probably see the illustration here, because that's Ace, Dorothy in brackets. The names are being taken directly from the TV series. They're not any sort of outside media series. So anyone who knows the character of Ace outside of Doctor, outside of the TV series, know that she has the surname McShane, but this isn't referencing that at all. This is just the name that she was given on the TV series, Dorothy. And she had got the middle name Gale, Gale, so it's Dorothy. And if you know the Wizard of Oz, that's Dorothy's name in that. And then you've got Ada Gillyflower. Ada Gillyflower is an interesting one, because she's from the Crimson Horror, Mark Gatiss story, an 11th Doctor story. So some of these are quite, they're not the ones you'd expect. Adelaide Brooke, played by Lindsay Duncan. Ace is played by Sophie Aldred. Ada is played by Rachel Sterling. Adelaide Brooke, played by Lindsay Duncan, from The Waters of Mars, the 10th Doctor story. Agatha Christie, as played by Fenella Woolgar. Again, a famous writer, from The Unicorn and the Wasp. Amelia Amy Jessica Pond, played by Well, it says here played by Caitlin Blackwood and Karen Gillan, because Caitlin Blackwood played the younger Amy. And yes, I know the two were cousins. They didn't meet until this particular point. I know all that. So yeah, so that's quite nice. Yes. So I've not read any of this. Anne Travers. So it tells you how far back we're going here. This is from the Web of Fear from 1968, which also saw the introduction of the character Lethbridge Stewart, who was he was a colonel in this story, later became a brigadier. Anne Travers played by Tina Packer. So that's a nice little thing. Ashilda / Me, played by Maisie Williams from the 2015 series. My views on Ashilda are I don't dislike the character, but I don't have the same sort of oh wow that's Maisie Williams, because I don't watch Game of Thrones. So and for me, I think the impact of the characters, but you have to watch her in Game of Thrones to really get the full impact. I won't say it was stunt casting, because that's not fair, but I think it's I think she was cast on the strength of her popularity in that. Astrid Peth from Voyage of the Damned, played by Kylie Minogue, so she's in here. Barbara Wright, who was the character that because the competition was to elect your favourite female character from Doctor Who and to kind of explain why, and she was the one that I'd sort of gone with. So it's thanks to her, this character that I've won this book. Played by Jacqueline Hill for 2 years. Just a really cracking story. As you can probably see in the corner, there's an illustration of her as she attacks her in the Aztecs, which is cracking. One of my favourite First Doctor stories. It was my favourite from the first season, actually. Then you got Bill Potts, played by Pearl Mackie. He's from Peter Capaldi's final season. So, got the illustrations there. Lady Cassandra O'Brien Delta 17, played by Zoe Wanamaker. Now, interestingly, I'm just going to make reference here, because the delta there, some people might think that's a triangle. That's the Greek letter delta. They've actually done it as I would have done it, because I'm that kind of chap. You've got Lady Christina D'Souza, played by Michelle Ryan, from Planet of the Dead. They've now got her own spin-off series on Big Finish, which I've not heard, but it's something to be particularly bad. Clara Oswald, of course, from the last of the Matt Smith era and majority of Peter Capaldi's era. Donna Noble, played by the wonderful Catherine Tate, one of my favourite companions of the modern era. I think she's just marvellous. Dorothea Dodo Chaplet, played by Jackie Lane, who appeared in 1966. She was a short-lived, not a short-lived, because she didn't die, but she was a short-term companion, pretty much for the First Doctor, and was I think as a character could have nobody quite knew what to do with her. She started off with quite a broad Mancunian accent, and then the BBC didn't like that, so she had to speak with more received pronunciation, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. Queen Elizabeth I, who's played by three ladies here. Vivienne Bennett, who appeared in the 1965 story The Chase, and then Angela Pleasance, daughter of the legendary Donald Pleasance. She was who appeared in the Shakespeare Code, the second story to feature Martha, and then later on Joanna Page in the 50th anniversary special. So that's Dr. Elizabeth Liz Shaw, played by Caroline John from John Pertwee's first season. Queen Elizabeth X, played by Sophie Okonedo. So that's rather cool. And again, we're going quite not obscure but deep in this. Professor Amelia Rumford, from the 1978 story The Stones of Blood, which featured Tom Baker's The Fourth Doctor, played by Beatrix Lehman. It's a wonderful character actually. If you've never seen The Stones of Blood, I recommend that. It's very good. Then you got Dr. Grace Holloway, who's pictured here with sort of a darker hair colour. She's blonde in the film, in the movie, but nice Paul McGann TV movie. But there might be a reason for that. I don't know whether they can't use her exact likeness. I don't know. So Gwyneth from The Unquiet Dead, the third story of the Christopher Eccleston series, played by Eve Miles, who would later go on to play Gwen Cooper in the Torchwood series. Right Honourable Harriet Jones MP for Flydale North. Yes, we know who you are. Played by the wonderful Penelope Wilton. So she's featured in here. Professor Helen Clay, who some of you might not know who that is. Even sort of the more considered fans. And I had to think twice, and there's a reference here. So played by Nikki Amuka Bird, and she appears in Twice Upon a Time. She's the model for the testimony in that story. So and then you've got the hostess, played by the wonderful Reiki Aola. I'm getting confused with Sagan Akinola, who's the new composer for the new series. Reiki Aola, who I think would be a brilliant Doctor. I really do. I saw her I've seen her in a few other things, and she was also in No Offence, the Paul Abbott crime drama thing. The second series of that, she was superb, and she's got this incredible vibe to her. I think she'd be amazing. Then we got her, played by Alethea Charlton, from the very first Doctor Who story, An Unearthly Child. Not the first episode, but the following 3 episodes. So that's a really sort of nice little thing. Idris, the TARDIS, played by Saran Jones, the Doctor's wife. She's in here. Also we got the Inquisitor from The Trial of a Time Lord, played by the late great Linda Bellingham. So that's nice. We've got Jackie Tyler, played by Camille Coduri. Lady Jennifer Buckingham, played by Jane Sherwin, from the War Games, Patrick Troughton's final story. As the incumbent Doctor, I know he appears in 3 others. After that, then you've got Jenny, the Doctor's daughter, played by Georgia Moffat, from The Doctor's Daughter. Georgia Moffat, of course, being the Doctor's daughter, because she's the daughter of the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison, and now wife of the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. They're very happy together. They've got children together. I think they're perfect together, frankly. Then you've got Jenny Flint and Madame Vastra, the 2 ladies from the Paternoster gang, from the last scene in Peter Capaldi's first story, Deep Breath, played by Catherine Stewart and Neil McIntosh. Neve or Nev, I never quite sure whether the E's pronounced or not. But yeah, that's good. And then you got Joan Redfern, played by Jessica Hines, from Human Nature, The Family of Blood, which is a good thing. Josephine Jo Grant, played by Katie Manning, well-loved companion of the 3rd Doctor. Really nice, great character, played by the wonderful Katie Manning. And then we've got Katerina, who was this is the short-lived companion of the Doctor, the first Doctor. She first appeared in the Mythmakers, and then carried on into the Daleks' Master Plan. And, well, let's just say she didn't last very long. She's a Trojan handmaiden. Kate Stewart, played by Demi Redgrave. Katerina, played by Adrienne Hill, by the way. Adrienne Hill, perhaps. So yeah, Kate Stewart, the daughter of the Brigadier, played by Gemma Redgrave. And she's sort of pretty well known. Manon Kavarian, played by Frances Barber, from the sort of 2006 2006. What am I talking about? 2011 series. Leela, that's played by Louise Jameson, companion of the Fourth Doctor. Go a bit quicker now. Locusta, it's going deep. From the story of the Romans, played by Anne Tirard, or Tirard. It's very, nice little nod. Lucy Saxon, played by Alexander Moen. Or it might be Moen, it might be Moan. I'm not sure. Moen. The wife of Harold Saxon, who later transpired that he's the Master. Linda Moss, played by Joe Joyner, from the Bad Wolf, Parting of the Ways two-parter that saw Christopher Eccleston leave the show, turning into David Tennant. So that's quite neat. Martha Jones, companion of the 10th Doctor, played by Freeman Rajaman. You've got Melanie Bush, played by Bonnie Langford. Now, interestingly, I mentioned about Ace and sort of McShane and everything else. Melanie Bush, Mel's surname in the TV series isn't mentioned, but I think it's such a widely accepted and known name that I think it would be churlish not to include it in this instance. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that. Mercy Hartigan, played by Dervla Kirwan, from the Next Doctor, or with David Morrissey in it. Missy, played by Michelle Gomez. It's a brilliant character, truly brilliant character. And there again, people were watching this saying, "Oh well, because the Master is now a woman," because that's who Missy is. The Master is a female, the woman. Oh no, that Stephen Moffat. Oh, you've done you've the patriarch. You've condemned the patriarchy and all that other nonsense. Yeah, brilliant character. Can't be doing with the arguments basically. Just they're pathetic. And Queen Nefertiti, or from the Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, played by Rhiannon Steele. Did I mention that Missy was played by Michelle Gomez? I can't remember. Then got Nyssa, companion to the Fourth Doctor and Fifth Doctor, played by Sarah Sutton. She's in here. O'Hilla, played by Claire Higgins, first appeared in The Night of the Doctor, which is the sort of mini-sode, which saw Paul McGann's Eighth Doctor regenerate into the War Doctor, played by John Hurt. And she's made subsequent appearances since, played by Claire Higgins, who was in the first Hellraiser film. Claire Higgins, she played the stepmother. I can't remember. I can't remember the relationship between her and the girl. And you've got Pippa Gilliam Perry Brown, companion of the Fifth and Sixth Doctors, played by Nicola Bryant. There we are. Petronella Osgood, it's got S in brackets because there are more than one of them now, for story reasons, and played by Ingrid Oliver, who was better known at the time, I think, for her Watson and Oliver double act comedy sort of show. I can't remember the name of the Watson. I want to say Kate, but I don't think that's right. But there we are. Yeah, so that's quite nice. Then you've got Polly, that's played by Annika Wills, the companion of the First and Second Doctors. That's quite good. The Rani, that's played by Kate O'Mara, the late great Kate O'Mara, and played on audio by Siobhan Redmond. I've not heard her in the role, but apparently she's very good. So there's that. And then we've got Renette, Jean-Antoinette Poisson, Marquise de Pompadour. That's played by Sophia Miles from The Girl in the Fireplace, which is a lovely story by Stephen Moffat. It's a lovely story. I don't think it's his best work on the show. I don't think it's not really one of my favourite Doctor Who stories overall, but I think it's a lovely little story. And you've got Rita from The God Complex, played by Myra Karen. Professor Riversong, of course, played by Alex Kingston. A very quite. No, I don't say she was a divisive character, but she's a character that people tend to sort of either get very confused by, or they kind of, paying attention, they kind of get the general gist of it. I mean, you can do a sort of timeline thing with her, but it's not really worth a bother, to be honest with you. Then we got Romana Dvorak-Trelundar, and there's the image on this page is one of Mary Tam's incarnation. She's a time lady, it says here. I prefer female Time Lord. I just genuinely do. I think that the Time Lord Society, much like the UK House of Lords, it's not called the House of Lords and Ladies, although there are ladies and baronesses and God knows what else in there, but it's the House of Lords, and I think the Time Lord Society is pretty much that. So I think she's a female Time Lord rather than a Time Lady, although she just defines herself as a Time Lady, I suppose, and identifies with that. That's fair enough, I suppose. But Romana, and then you've got a picture of Lila Ward's incarnation there on the second page. Rose Tyler, of course, played by Billie Piper. A character that I don't think has aged particularly well. I think that the Russell T Davies era, certainly with the Rose storyline, is very much when Russell T Davies brought it back, he said, "I'm going to make the show up to date," and he did. But that subsequently dated it because it's of a particular time rather than timeless. That's the thing. But but of course she's in there. She has to be. I think it's right. Then you got Rosita from the Next Doctor, played by Valero de Shabalala. I think that's how it's pronounced. So that's. So that's a good picture over here with an axe. Sally Sparrow from Blink, played by the incredibly successful these days Kerry Mulligan. This is one of her first major TV roles. I think I saw her in before this. She was in an episode of Waking the Dead. She's very good in that as well. She played a novice. Trainee nun, essentially. Was she a novice schoolgirl novice? I can't remember, but she was quite young in that. Then you've got Samantha Briggs, played by Pauline Collins, and I have peeked at the end, so I know that she features again in another role. She's from The Faceless Ones, which was the story that saw the second Doctor story that saw the departure of Ben and Polly. And she was intended during production to sort of be the next companion, but Pauline Collins at the time didn't want to be associated with one role. Didn't want to have a long-term contract or something like that. I can't something along those lines certainly. And I'm not sure whether this was before or after the Liver Birds. I have a feeling it was before, and then she decided to do the Liver Birds afterwards. But I could have got that. That could be the other way around. Liver Birds could be the reason why she didn't want to associate with another TV series so quickly afterwards. Sarah Kingdom, played by G. Marsh, from Dalek's Master Plan, a companion of sorts. I don't think she was never intended to carry on afterwards. After that, for obvious reasons, if you know the story, and although she's generally considered to be a companion by a lot of fans now, I think even G. Marsh herself said that she wouldn't have carried on regardless. So it's an interesting character. It also says here May Warden as well played her, which is perfectly true because she played at the end of the story. May Warden played her very, very briefly. Sarah Jane Smith, played by the late, great, and still much missed Elizabeth Sladen. I've been watching some reaction videos of a YouTuber called Seska Says, and she's currently doing the Sarah Jane Adventures, and it's just amazing. how great Elizabeth Sladen was. So much missed. It's 7 years since she passed away. It's still a loss that's keenly felt in Doctor Who circles. There we are. It would have been nice for the Saturday Adventures to sort of tale to end it naturally rather than forced to end. Then you've got Susan Foreman in sort of inverted commas, played by Caroline Ford, Doctor's granddaughter. Now we can debate whether she's the Doctor's granddaughter or not, all you like, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason for us to think that she wasn't. What happened to her parents? That's the great mystery. Should we ever find out? I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't know. Although I suspect that they died. There's a line in the Aztecs, the first Doctor story, the Aztecs, which I mentioned previously, which where the Doctor says, "You can't rewrite history, not one line. Believe me, I know. Believe me." I'm suggesting I've tried. So I think maybe that's we're not quite sure what happened to Susan's parents. Then you've got Tasha Lem, played by Orla Brady, from the time of the Doctor. This is actually going on longer than I thought it was going to. If you stuck this far, well done. The time of the Doctor, Matt Smith's final story, Tasha Lem. Then you've got Tegan Javanka, played by Jeanette Fielding, who came in in the final Tom Baker story and stayed with the fifth Doctor for most of his run. And I think we're near the end now. Trinity Wells, played by Lachelle Carl, who Tegan's played by Janet Fielding. I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. Trinity Wells, played by Lachelle Carl, who was the newsreader throughout the majority of Russell T Davies's time as showrunner, and sort of even featured in Saturday Adventures and Torchwood as well. So she was a consistent character throughout those three shows. Vicky, played by Maureen O'Brien. Again, her surname isn't mentioned. It's not referred to in the TV series at all, and it's only referred to I think in one of the books, one of the novels. It's the 11th Tiger by David A. McKinty, I think, and it's it's just Pallister is the surname that's given to her, but that's very, very deep, far too deep for a book like this. You want to kind of, this is for not just for hardcore fans, this is for sort of other people who are interested as well. So yeah, so she's played by Maureen O'Brien, first introduced in The Rescue, which is the first story to go into production after a break, because the first year of production of Doctor Who was throughout for the 52 weeks of the year, so it included from An Unearthly Child up to Flashpoint, which was the final episode of the Dalek invasion of Earth, and saw the departure of Susan. So that entire 52 weeks was in Doctor Who was in production there. Queen Victoria, again this is the second one played by Pauline Collins from Tooth and Claw. Victoria Waterfield, played by the much missed again Deborah Watley, companion of the second Doctor. Brigadier Winifred Bambera, played by Angela Bruce, introduced in the story Battlefield. Is the first story of season 26, which ended up being the final story of the original 20th century run of the show. Great character. The Woman, in inverted commas, played by Claire Bloom, who is the woman that sort of appears to Wilf and a bit later on the Doctor himself in The End of Time. No one's quite sure who she is. I think the implication is she's the Doctor's mother, but there's no sort of but there's no way of knowing it, and it certainly isn't confirmed in here. So that's. And then we've got the latest edition. We've got Yasmin Yaz Khan, latest companion, female companion. Not much is known about her really, except what we know in. So, first appearance, series 11, episode 1. The woman who fell to earth was known as the title, and it was sort of being ready for publication. Yvonne Hartman, played by Tracy Ann Oberman from the Army of Ghosts Doomsday two-parter from 2006, which saw the departure of Rose. You've got Zoe Herriot, companion of the second Doctor, played by Wendy Padbury. And you've got the Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker and others. So, and I'm actually going to show this because it's a really nice image. That's a lovely image. It's the same character, you know. All this fluff and nonsense about it. It's the same character. So here's that, and some nice other images. And then we've got some honourable mentions here for Alison May from Gridlock and Carmen from Planet of the Dead and various others. And the last sort of name in here, you turn the page and you get Verity Ann Lambert, the woman who was in charge of production, the Doctor at the very, very beginning. An incredibly important figure in Doctor Who. You know, she passed away in 2007, I think it was. 2007? 2009. 2007 she passed away. Barry Letts, the producer of the third Doctor era, 2009. So that's a longer video than I planned, but I thought I'd give a sort of basic sort of some information about that book. I'm not going to give anything away apart from show you who it's about, basically. So there we are. Thank you to Philip Hawkins for sort of picking my name out of the cup, basically. As I say, I'll leave a description of his channel in the description, and I'll probably leave it. I might even mention Seska Sage as well. I'll pop her in there as well. So yeah, this is a longer video. It's over half an hour long now. So if you've enjoyed it this far, well done. And yeah, I probably once I've read it, I'll probably do a review of it. So you've got that to look forward to. Okay, so tatty bye. Look after yourselves. Ta-ra.